My name is Ressa. This is my 30th year as a journalist. I spent 20 years with CNN running Southeast Asia, 6 years running the largest news group in the Philippines, and then 4 years ago I started a company called RAPPLER, and we started with 12 people. We now have about a little more than 100 people. You know, when I was handling the largest news group in the Philippines, I managed about 1,000 journalists. And the very thing that makes a traditional television news group successful is the very thing that will make it flounder in this new age. Everything just, something that would take 6 months to do in a television network takes a week to do in RAPPLER. It's just the fast pace, putting the right people who understand the technology, trying to figure out how to incorporate journalism, the ethics of journalism, the discipline of journalism, but yet to take this new kind of structure and setup, new workflows, a different mindset, atomizing everything. That was the biggest challenge. So we started it with 12 people, 4 or 5 of us above 40, everyone else 20 something. And it was this magical combination of the experience of the older folks and then just the ability to look at the world through the eyes of a digital native, and then to smash that together and atomize a story and then pull them all back together again into a long-form investigative. So I'll start with first how it surprised us, right? After about a year and a half, we became the 3rd top news site in the Philippines. And really the key change there, the game changer, is social media. I'll answer your question, why Indonesia? It's 250 million people. It is the largest country in ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. If I can capture the Philippines and Indonesia, that is a market that's far larger than North America, certainly larger than Europe, sorry. But it is also the other part. They have 2 things in common, these 2 countries. It's young population, institutions are weak, law and order tends to be weak, and you have 22 to 23 years old as a median age. You have very hyper social media activity. Jakarta is the top Twitter city in the world. It is, Facebook is, in some parts of Indonesia, like in the Philippines, when you say the internet, people think Facebook. In the Philippines, you have, in 2010, ComScore called it the social media capital of the world. It's actually lost that now, but again, this hyperactivity, and we're seeing that we can capture that and actually change reality. It's a combination of social network analysis and data, right? So now what we can do with this new technology is actually atomize emotions, atomize words, atomize data. And then when you put that all together, it depends on your analysis, right? You can actually gain far greater insight than we've ever had before. From Bin Laden to Facebook, I worked with the core lab at the Naval Postgraduate School, and in Singapore, the International Center for Political Violence and Terrorism Research. What we tried to do is to map how the ideology of terrorism spreads. And this virulent ideology, right? It used to power Al-Qaeda and now powers ISIS. And that book was written at the time before ISIS came out, but I was looking at how the ideology spread on social media. So it's a combination of structured and unstructured big data, and then also when it's unstructured, it's crowdsourced, right? It's then being able to map communities, and this is a tool that we built for RAPPLER, because I think the other big difference between RAPPLER and a traditional news group is that we build on communities. We believe the role of journalists today is to give communities information they need to become communities of action. And so it's the same thing. What I did in From Bin Laden to Facebook was to try to figure out how the ideology spread that creates this vicious cycles of terrorism, and yet if you can deconstruct it, it becomes a roadmap for how media can engage this younger generation. Imagine if ISIS, this was before ISIS, but if terrorists can convince guys your age to go to Syria and Iraq, girls your age to go to Syria and Iraq, why could we not use social media for far more constructive, purposes than that, and actually to change governance at a primary level.